in 1907, a group of clergymen got together and said, we have one common religious holiday, and that's Thanksgiving. And we ought to celebrate it, and we ought to celebrate it together. So 1907, Jew, Protestant, Catholic, just the whole spectrum of religious thought at that time, in a way that was completely unheard of, got together and had the happiest time, as reported in the papers, celebrating the good feeling between themselves. And I think it's a great root maybe of our whole civic consciousness that is a background to everything we do in Dallas. The idea of taking our highest ideal, if possible, and putting it in a beautiful open space grew on us. And so we feel that the idea itself kind of generated the motive power that has not stopped moving. The basic ideas, if I can digress, have come from a wide survey that we've taken all the way from 1964, questionnaires we've given all types of groups in all parts of town, asking what they wanted, so that we felt that we were in the mainstream of what people conceived this ought to be. And of course they came up with the green place. They wanted the trees and the water. And so naturally we honed in on what people wanted, and it proved that that was what people were also willing to pay for. A charitable foundation for this specific purpose was organized in 1964, and will be the vehicle, we think, that may be able to carry this on successfully, like Tivoli has been carried on successfully as a private enterprise, charitable, religious foundation, maybe for several hundred years.
In other words, the foundation will pay for the construction and maintenance?
And maintenance, yes.
The park. What is the relationship of the park to the city?
Fine. The city, in about 1968, approved so that they could complete the then surface pedestrian way, which cut across the western tip of Thanksgiving Square, $475,000 for the purchase of property. And that property on the west became a partnership in the obtaining of the property, which was the initial contact between the foundation and the city. That was about 19% of the purchase of the property. Then the need for the underground terminal and underground facilities was another need that came up later. And for that, they are leasing from the foundation the area for the truck terminal and pedestrian way routes on a long-term lease, 75 years plus another 75 years. About halfway between Ackerd to the west and Hervey to the east is the intersection of Pacific and Bryan, which was the old Pulley-Bone Tower, and now has been replaced by a 50-foot bell tower with 3 bells weighing approximately 5 tons that will humanize, we think, the city and be the integral part of this large welcoming court of flowers and a water wall that provides a vortex to entice people to come not the straight ways down to the other stoplights and keep on the business direct route, but rather to take a little byway and come and get under the trees and get between the grassy banks and get down into the sound of rushing water down below the traffic, and suddenly take on a whole new environment from which there are 6 different routes that he can go back into the city, or if he feels slowed down and wanting to enjoy the environment, circling up across the bridge into the chapel, out of the garden now and its pleasant noises masking the sounds of traffic. He comes into a place of silence, a small chapel about 40 feet in diameter with a stained glass ceiling that washes down on the curved white marble aggregate walls. And then if he goes back into the city, he can go back in slowly, decompress, you might say, come out on this little platform, enjoy the view of people on various levels below him and around him and the vegetation, and slowly wind out the way back into the city. And he actually comes back by the largest outpouring of water, 2,500 gallons a minute, bubbling out at this point for a final look, and then back into the way of the city again. The idea, which had been going around for so long, several thousand years at a minimum, that was part of everybody's life and life cycle, as has been said, never had a piece of property before. So this is the first little acre that the idea of Thanksgiving has ever had. The only similar thing you might say is Liberty. Liberty has 9 acres in Bedloe's Island in New York Harbor, but Thanksgiving has 1 acre in the middle of Dallas, Texas. So we felt that it was a very strong idea for the center of a town, a thing that needed to be, a story that needed to be told someplace in the world. And it just seems amazing to us that it's Dallas, Texas that's able to tell it.